asked Miss Kim to start making a list of words that you want to know how to sign. So this is the first video that will teach you words that you have asked to learn in sign language. All right, let's get started. Most important things you need to understand about sign language is that it's a picture visual language. So when you're deciding how to sign a word, you need to know what the meaning is or what the picture image is that you're trying to express and communicate. Break can mean a couple of different things. First of all, it can just mean to break apart in pieces. So you're going to need your S hands and you're going to break them apart or pull them apart. Break. 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 Another meaning for break is to collapse or to cave in. So to sign that type of break, you need your 5 hands or your claw hands, and you're going to put them together and then make them fall in. Break or collapse. Break, collapse, fall in. Break is to take a break. Usually when we take a break, it means we're on vacation. We take a rest from our normal activities. So you need your 5 hands again. You're going to put your thumbs almost under your armpits. You're going to rest. You're going to take a break. Break. Vacation. Break, vacation. So this would be like spring break. If you're going on spring break, this is what you would sign, spring break, because it's a spring vacation. One color we did not learn was gold. To make the sign for golden, point your finger at your ear, and as it wiggles away from your head, it changed to a Y. Gold or golden. Gold. Golden. Animal signs, but one we didn't talk about was the leopard. Okay, so we learned lion, which is a big cat, and we learned tiger, which is also a big cat, but there's a lot of different kinds of big cats. There's the cheetah, there's the leopard, there's many others. So when there are a lot of different types of the same type of animal, you could sign big cat, and then you would describe it. So a leopard is black and it has spots, and then you could spell it L-E-O-P-A-R-D, leopard. So if I was talking about a leopard to a deaf person and I needed to create a visual picture, I would sign big cat, black with spots, named leopard. The same thing you would do with cheetah. You would just describe it differently. So it's a big cat, and it's orange and yellow colored mixed together. And then you could spell cheetah. Cheetah. It's a big cat. Spelling a lot is different types of food and different types of tastes. So one of you asked to learn the sign for chips. Well, there's a lot of different types of chips. So you could just spell the name for chips. You could spell chips, C-H-I-P-S, or you could spell the name of the specific chip that you want. Doritos, or my kids like Pringles, or another type is tortilla chips. So it's kind of the same as it was with the leopard sign, that you just describe it and then you spell the specific name for it. Now, an exception to this is if you're in a group of friends or a deaf or hard of hearing community, sometimes they have their own signs for specific things, especially regional products, things that you find in one part of the country that may not be in another part of the country. So you really, for these types of signs, you just need to pay attention to your deaf and hard of hearing friends and pick up on what signs they're using. So when I'm with deaf people, and I don't know the sign for a word like Doritos, I'll spell it and then I'll say, what's the sign? And they'll always tell me. They're never offended that I don't know the sign, because sign language is a language with thousands and thousands of words, and it's impossible for any one person to know all the signs. So if you don't know, you say, I don't know the sign. And the deaf person will usually show you the sign. Okay? This same idea of spelling your word goes along with names. So when you meet a deaf person, you would introduce yourself and say, my name, and then spell your name. And then the deaf person, if you're going to be hanging around the deaf people a lot, they'll give you a sign name. So my sign name was given to me in college, and my first name is Deborah, and my sign name is a D on my mouth, and it's made like a smile. This was given to me by my college friends who were deaf and who were teaching me sign language. So when you meet a deaf person, just spell your name, and then you can ask them, give me a sign name. What do you think my sign name is? And usually they'll pick something that describes you or something about you. Like for me, I smiled a lot. So they made my sign name a D with the smile sign. This is the sign for smile. So one of you asked, how do I sign Mrs. Boyd's name? So you would just sign Mrs. Boyd, or you as a class could decide a sign name for her. Okay, so maybe you guys in class can talk about it and decide, what do you want Mrs. Boyd's sign name to be? Describe how our food tastes. And one of you asked for the sign spicy. And when I looked it up, I found 3 different signs in my book for spicy. So when that happens, you really just have to pay attention to whatever sign the deaf people around you are using, and you always use their sign. But I'll show you all three signs. So when something is spicy, oftentimes it's hot. So you can just wave your hand like you would if your mouth was burning. Hot. It's spicy. Spicy. Another sign for spicy is to make the flat O hand at your mouth and kind of throw it out and open it up. Spicy. Spicy. Like it kind of pinches your mouth, I guess, or makes your mouth tingle when something's spicy. So I believe that's where this sign came from. The flat O hand and kind of throw it out. Spicy. Spicy. The third sign for spicy is made with an S hand at your mouth, and then it's thrown out too. Spicy. 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 The next word that one of you asked for was the word for bag, or this could also be bucket, or something to carry something in, a basket. So bag, you need your pointer finger and you're going to hold your arm out and you're going to draw the bag hanging down from your arm. Bag. Bag. I've also seen this done with the whole hand. Bag. Bag. Now you don't always carry things from something hanging from your arm. A lot of you probably bring things to school in a backpack, so I want to teach you the sign for backpack. To make this sign, you use your C hands and you move it down to your shoulders. Backpack. Backpack. House. House is made just by kind of drawing the shape of the house. So you just have flat hands and you make the roof and then the sides. House. House. Houses come in a lot of different sizes, and so I need you to know how to sign the sizes of things, which can be a little complicated because a lot of times the sign is made around the shape of whatever it is you're talking about. But if you wanted to say a big house, then you make your C or X hands start together, and then they move out however large you want this object to be. So it can be big, and then if it's gigantic, you would sign big, and that's the universal sign for that's amazing. You just shake your hand and you kind of blow your breath out. That's huge. It's enormous. It's amazing. There's really no word for it. So that's how you sign that in sign language. If there's no word for it and it's just truly amazing. So that could be ginormous, gigantic, humongous. Now, if something is little, you make it little, and then you bring your hands in, and it can be little this way, can be little this way. If you're talking about a person, they can be a little person. So there's a lot of ways to make the sign for little. And if it's super tiny, you make it with your pointer finger and your thumb, and it's tiny, itty bitty. There's a couple of different ways you can sign car. And we've already learned the sign for drive. So that can also be the sign for car. Or you can make your 3-hand, turn it sideways, and that's a car. And this is the sign that's used when you tell a story. So I was driving a car on a long, dark road. So you're driving your car. 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 Something that goes in our houses are lamps. And one of you asked to learn the sign for lamp. So a lamp is just a type of light. And to sign light, you're going to have your flat O hand up above your head, and you're going to open it up. That's light, or can also be lamp. Light, lamp. Now, this is also the sign for turn the light on. Turn the light on, and then if you want to turn the light off, you go the other way. Turn the light off. Turn the light on. Turn the light off. Picnic. I know 2 different signs for picnic. So I'll show you the one that I learned, and then I'll show you the one that was in the book. Okay, so when I was taught the sign for picnic, I was taught to use my pointer finger and my thumb and kind of move them like this, like pinchers, and go back and forth. Picnic. Picnic. Then when I looked the sign up, I saw this. Picnic. So maybe that comes from wiping your hands on a napkin or something like that. I'm not sure. But that is the other sign for picnic. 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 Park. There are 2 different meanings for this word. One is a park, as in a place that you go to play at a playground. And that sign is made with 1 hand flat and your P hand, and it circles around and the P sits on the flat hand. Park. 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 Of the word park is to park a car or a vehicle. So remember how we learned the sign for car? So you're going to park the car. So you make your sign for car and your flat hand with the palm up, and you bring the car down into the flat hand. Park the car. This sign is similar to the sign for stop that we learned, and they are related because when you park a car, you stop the car. Park. 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 Shell. This is a word that one of you asked for, and I looked in all 3 of my sign language books, and there was not a sign in any of those books for shell. So then I went online to a resource that I reference when I need to know a sign, and they didn't have a sign for shell either. So this is probably something you would just describe with your hands or make that word picture. So if you need to sign seashell or shell, you can sign C and then cup your hand for the shell. Seashell. Or your other option is just to sign C and then spell shell. S-H-E-L-L. Moon. Moon is made with your X, kind of your X hand. And you put it up by, your thumb goes up by your eye, the corner of your eye, and moves out. Out and up. Moon. 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 Acorn. An acorn is a nut. So to make the sign for nut, you need your thumb sticking out and you're going to kind of pop it off your teeth. Nut. Nut. Now acorn is a specific type of nut, so you could spell acorn. Acorn, and then do the sign for nut. Joy. The meaning of joy is happy. To make the sign for happy, you're going to take both of your flat hands and kind of brush them up and out from your chest. Happy. Happy. Tomorrow. To make the sign for tomorrow, you need your A hand. You're going to turn it sideways and put it by your cheek and roll it out. Tomorrow. 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 Our last sign for today is Prince and Princess. So to make both of these signs, you need to know how to make your P, which we've already learned. And a lot of times prince and princesses wear that sash across their body. So that's where this sign comes from. So the prince, your P starts at one shoulder and goes to your waist. Prince. 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 Now princess has an extra move in it. Princess starts at your shoulder, then goes to the other shoulder, then goes to your waist. Princess. 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 I hope you've enjoyed learning these few words that you have asked for, and next week we'll learn some more. So if you have a word that you want to know, please tell Miss Kim, and she'll write it down and she'll tell me, and then I'll teach it to you in one of our future lesson videos. Bye-bye.